Dimensions is the theme of the 5th New Antiquity workshop here at King's College London. We're exploring all the sorts of different ways in which viewers interact with the scale of ancient art. We're exploring the ways in which ancient art plays with the two-dimensional and the three-dimensional, and we're exploring the historiography of those issues, thinking in particular about space and time.
The New Antiquity group was founded to bring together scholars who are interested in Greek and Roman art from a point of view that is perhaps more theoretical than is normally found in the field of classical archaeology. So people who are really straddling the ground between classical archaeology, art history, and also literary studies. So very interdisciplinary, but particularly interested in a certain set of theoretical questions around the visual. So it started off as a kind of support group because some of us felt a bit isolated in what we were doing, but it has since grown and become a really vital, fun way to get together with like-minded scholars and explore exciting ideas.
The New Antiquity workshop is an opportunity for around 15 to 20 scholars to come together and discuss their latest research, in this case in classical art history. One of the things about the study of classical visual culture is that it sits slightly awkwardly between classics and art history. And one of our aims with these workshops is to help build those bridges between the two disciplinary parameters. And that's something that we've been working on very hard here at London.
These New Antiquity meetings are really important to me. They're one of the most important professional things I do. I teach at Stanford, I work at Stanford, I have amazing colleagues, people are working on all kinds of things. But I'm one of the only people there who cares about ancient art. So it's really a gift and so stimulating to come here and to be around people who are working on similar issues. And every time we set a theme and we all sort of chew on this theme and everything interconnects, and I always come away with brand new ideas and my own work gets much better and I find out what other people are doing. I can't stress enough how valuable this is intellectually.
The New Antiquity group is really designed with thinking about not just innovation and rethinking and recapturing the past, but really allowing for those sort of refreshed forms of thought to come in a safe space, so to speak, in a way that cultivates open discussion.
The discipline of art history has in the last, let's say, 30, 40 years, got more and more modern, less and less concerned with its classical heritage, its classical past. Clearly, when the Renaissance was the center of that narrative, then the Renaissance's relationship to what it imagined as its classical heritage was very important. However, the history of art history, the art history as a discipline, is a meditation on the classical tradition, on those key tropes, mimesis, portraiture, figuration, narrative, and those tropes constantly reoccur. So if we think about contemporary art without having that kind of sense of our roots and depths, we simply miss what's going on.
The problem of scale is really how the Greeks found their way around in the world when they didn't have basic technologies of the sort that we would use to navigate. They didn't really have maps, for instance, and anything like the way that we do. And so they didn't also have, for example, a standardized unit for measuring distances. So when you try to describe how far it is from one place to another, they don't have any consistent set of terms that they can use to give that sort of description. And nonetheless, they're able to build incredibly elaborate buildings and explore the Mediterranean and travel over long distances and so on. And the question then is how, given the constraints that they had, they were able to do those sorts of things.
Our work here with the New Antiquity Conference is a collaboration with the Leverhulme Trust, who are sponsoring our workshop. One of the things we're very keen on at King's is to work not only here on campus, but to work across the London art historical community. So we've incorporated discussions and sessions with the British Museum, for example, and with the John Soane's Museum just up the road, 5 minutes away.
It's interesting to consider how the theme of Dimensions of Classical Art is relevant to the museum. And I think it's actually extraordinarily relevant, in fact central, because Soane regarded the museum as almost his tribute to ancient Rome and his evocation, certainly in the Dome area, of ancient Rome in miniature, intended for students that he knew or thought would never get to see the Eternal City for themselves. And I think another dimension is that by working with universities, we are actually helping our own profession, because where do the curators of the future come from? They come from the ranks of university students for the most part, and those students need to learn about curatorship somehow. And so by coming here and seeing real objects, looking at real drawings, learning, for example, the conventions of architectural drawing, that can help them to learn about opportunities in the museum world.
London is a great place to study, apart from the fact that there are countless libraries, museums, gallery. It's a great academic community here. All of these sorts of conferences and people to talk to, people who are much further on in their career, getting experience from them and advice and talking to them about their work. It's such an invaluable opportunity for someone like me who's sort of getting to grasp with my own work and getting to grasp with academic life.